You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, Singles Talk Radio channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Boy and Girl Thing. I'm Kit Smith, and I'm the author of the book, Let's Meet Our Match, Your Complete Guide to Success in the World of Internet Dating. And on my left, as always,
I'm Cece Shatz.
And she is?
I am the doyen of divorce and relationship building. And it is so great to have you guys on the show here with us tonight. So what have you been up to?
Well, we're putting the final touches on a wonderful project that we've been working on for quite a while.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that certainly by this time next month, we're going to be off and running.
Absolutely. I'm so excited about it. And I hope that you guys will join us in this venture, because I think not only is it going to be fun, it's really going to be, I think it's going to be changing lives.
No question about it. We've done some things to this that have never been done before.
Absolutely.
And it's the result of a lot of our own personal experiences and deciding, well, how can we make this better? There's got to be a better way. And Cece and I truly believe that we've come up with that better way.
Yeah.
And this is part of it. You know, coming into your living room every Thursday night, or your bedroom, or your bathroom, or wherever it is that
not get too personal.
Wherever it is that you're watching us out on your patio. Okay, this is a part of what we're going to. It's a major part of what we're going to be all about going forward.
Yeah, you know, the whole thing is that relationship building is really difficult at times. It can be very fun. It can be very challenging. Hey, Eric, it's nice to see you on the show. You said my volume is not working. Well, I hope our volume is working. So if anybody else is hearing us out there, we're having some difficulties with the site tonight. So I do apologize for that. But
I'm nowhere near as entertaining without being able to hear me.
Okay. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to finish up what we were talking about. I think that dating, and this is why we do the show, is that dating can be a challenge.
No question.
It can be exciting. It can be fun. It really can be changing your lives. But the thing is, the challenges sometimes can be masked, and we can get disappointed
and stressful.
So, absolutely.
Cause anxiety.
So what we've developed is a team effort, and so we have some wonderful coaches and mentors and
advisors, counselors,
totally experts in their field, who are going to join us in this venture. And we're just really excited that they are really going to be part of what we're doing. And so
they're almost as anxious as we are to get started.
I know. They keep saying, when's it going to be up? When's it going to be up? Listen, before we get in it too far, I want to do a couple shout outs. One is I want to shout out to Amy and Rosalind. Amy and Rosalind.
Two of our very special people.
Oh, absolutely. They've been helping us throughout my whole career. They've been there for me, supporting me, and really have had my back. Rosalind Sadaka, she is a divorce really expert and moving you through some of those difficult times. But she gathers tons of information and enlightenment with regards to your family. So she really helps people be able to connect, going through a relationship loss, but also on the other side, helps the family connect and learn how to recreate a life for themselves.
She's much more of a life mentor.
Absolutely.
And then she is, like, say, one specific area. Rosalind kind of is an umbrella over.
She's like one of these well-rounded kind of people. And then we have Amy Sherman, who they're sisters, and they're on WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. And of course, we want to shout out to our station, because if it wasn't for our station, we wouldn't be here tonight. But they do shows each and every week, and they run the gamut of going through a relationship loss, rebuilding, and also dating. So we want to thank them.
And moving forward.
Yeah, Amy is a therapist, and she's been in the business for many, many years. And again, she is very well-rounded.
But she doesn't treat it like a business.
Absolutely.
Amy is one of those people that your problems, your personal thing, they become personal to her.
Absolutely.
She gets involved.
Mm-hmm.
She's, we say the word business, but Amy is well beyond.
Right. Well, and the reason I think that way is because she is a professional. I mean, she truly is a professional, and she really does help you move forward.
No question about it.
She's very unique. And then the last I wanted to shout out to is Bruce Starr. Bruce Starr, we are so sorry you're not going to be with us tonight on our segment here on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. He pulls up the Love Coach show at 9 o'clock. He's not feeling well tonight, so we want to do a shout out to him. We hope, and we send our prayers and well wishes.
Oh, Bruce.
Yeah, we hope that you get well soon. My friend. So he cannot do the show at 9. So if we go over, hey, we can do it because.
Does that mean I'm stuck here?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, let's start on with our show. We have been having some difficulties. When you do a live show, you just have to gut it up and do what you can do to get through. Yeah. And so we're going to kick off the show tonight. Well, let's do like we always do. Cheers, and we hope that you enjoy this show as much as we do. We have a wonderful guest with us tonight. Her name is Pamela Evans, and do you want to do the intro?
Well, Pam is the author of Ring Exchange, Life Lessons from a Multiple Marrier, which is a tale of Pam's sequential marriage journey and her lessons learned along that road less traveled.
Absolutely.
Pam is a relationship strategist, and her mission is to help others avoid the critical mistakes that she made, both in her personal life and at times her high-tech career. So Pam has appeared on numerous TV and radio programs. We're just really feeling blessed to have her with us. Thanks for coming down and being on with us. And let's hope we can get her on.
Yeah, so we're truly sorry about that. Well, welcome to the show, Pam.
Hi, Kit. Hi, there's Cece. It's great to be on, and I feel like I'm coming into you from the clouds. How's that? You can't really see my face, but I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm going to put you over. You're coming through on my cell phone.
The thing is, I don't care about your voice. It's your face I wanted to see. I'm a face guy. I'm all about faces.
There. Well, I'm delighted to be on the show this evening. It's really great. Cece and I met a couple of years ago, and we stayed in touch, and she reached out to me recently and said, you have this subject of how to break unhealthy relationships. Even though you've been married a few times, your message is good for people that we call relationship repeaters. People who actually go in and out of relationships. They want to have a serious, committed relationship, but it just doesn't seem to stick. And so I'm here to give some tips to help those people who may not be getting married all the time, but would really like to have a serious relationship. So ask me some questions, Cece, Kid, or would you like me to just dive in?
Well, first thing I'd like to know, number one, what is a relationship, strategist, and how did you get into that type of field?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Now, I'm different from a dating coach. A dating coach will help you get back into the dating scene if you've been out of it for a while. They'll help you build your profile. They'll give you some tips on how to build self-esteem. And then you've got a relationship therapist who is a licensed professional who will help you with the stress management when you get into issues. I'm somewhere in between. I'm a person who, I've been called a relationship whisperer. I give you a nudge and help you slow down and be patient and prepare to be in a relationship. And I help you look for those yellow and red flags when they wave.
Right. Wow, that's very, it's very unique what you do, but so very needed. Absolutely needed.
Right. I find that a lot of people, including myself in the old days, would jump into relationships from a place of need and not from a healthy place. If you think about it, how many people do you know who've gotten into a relationship out of sheer loneliness? They'd rather be with someone than to be alone. And that is up there with the fear of death and the IRS coming to knock on your door, is the fear of loneliness. Then there's the fear of financial pressure. Do I need a partner? Do I need a companion to help me out there? Sometimes there's pressure from family and friends to get coupled, particularly with young people. And in my case, the first time I got into a serious relationship, I just simply wanted to leave home. I would have married Godzilla just to leave home. I wanted my independence and freedom. So if you look at the reasons why most people start to seek a relationship, whether it's the loneliness, the financial, the status, the pressure. Sometimes it's even age. People feel they're aging out and they have to have a partner, or their childbearing years are flying by. When you look at it from that point, you're not coming from a position of personal power and strength. You're coming from a position of need, which is going to set you up from the get-go for settling, for making an impulsive decision, for jumping over the fence to what you think is a greener pasture when there are really weeds there, because you want so desperately to be in a relationship. And that's why I don't think people really look at the reasons and the motivators for why we want to be in a relationship in the first place. And it's very interesting. Pew Research says that 98% of all U.S. adults out there are either married, they're in a serious relationship, or they're seeking one. That leaves 2%. There are 2%ers out there who are not in a relationship, they're not seeking one, they don't want to be, and they don't care. And you may know someone like that. I happen to know someone like that, and this man has a life anyone would envy. So being in a relationship does not guarantee happiness. And I think a lot of people come from the vantage point of, if I can just find that right partner, my life will be joyful, I'll be happy, and everything will go well.
I agree with that completely. I agree with that completely. How and there are so many people that just believe they're supposed to be in a relationship. That,
right,
this is what society expects of me. I need to be in a relationship because I'm supposed to be in one, as opposed to what I would consider to be the correct reasons to be one, and that is fulfillment.
Right.
On both my end and her end. I want to fulfill her life, and I'm hoping that I can do that. And I hope that's her motivation, is to want to fulfill my life. I don't necessarily, I may be one of the 2%. I don't necessarily at this point in my life feel that I need a relationship to make me complete.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would I like one? Absolutely. I'm hoping beyond hope that I can at some point move into my next relationship, and that it'll be wonderful. It'll be storybook, and everything else. But it's not something that I lose sleep over.
Yeah. I think the reality, Pam, is what I was thinking about is that, when we're young, we are kind of groomed with thinking of what our lives are going to be like. You're going to grow up, get married, and live happily ever after. And then the reality is sometimes that doesn't happen, So then when we fall, with failure in a relationship, I hate to say, or something happens, death, or something where that breaks up, we break up and we find ourselves alone. Some of us are not comfortable with being by ourselves, being with who we are, because we've given so much into a relationship that we find that we just have this need to find somebody to fill that empty spot, that hole in our lives. So we jump forward. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, Pam, is that the patterns in our lives. And so we were talking about that, in our private conversations. And I think that going back, looking at, our relationship as we were younger, moving forward in our lives, it is based on our past relationships, our past patterns, isn't it?
It certainly is. And I know in my case, and I've seen this in many others, that the inability to set boundaries, always being submissive, letting other people take control of your life. And you know, at the end of the day, you take yourself wherever you go. And when you say, well, it didn't work out, I chose the wrong person. Yes, you made the decision, you made the choice. Your life matters. The way you live your life matters. And if you don't look at the behavioral patterns and change them, you're going to get the same result just with a different person. And that was my case. I would not see people who were possessive and controlling. I just thought they were outgoing and fun to be with and wanted to be with me and give me all their love. I didn't realize that they were keeping me away from family and friends, and that was a way of controlling me. I didn't set boundaries. I didn't know how to express my needs in a civil, kind and compassionate way. And I think, you know, we go into relationships without the skills training. We don't get this type of training in elementary school about how to do people relationships really, or middle school, or even high school. And by the time we're young adults, we don't have that much self-awareness. We don't have that much knowledge. And basically, I think we're ill-prepared to do relationships.
Oh, no question about it. Yes. I wholeheartedly agree. One of my close one of my closest and best friends at one time was a school teacher, and we have had this discussion numerous times, how little our education contributes to what we are going to be doing on a day-to-day basis of our adult lives. And I didn't receive any kind of training or education on how to have a relationship. And wouldn't that have been just incredibly valuable to me at 15, 16, 18 years old?
It would absolutely help you. It would help you in the workplace, at university, wherever you go. People are in our lives, and knowing how to resolve conflict, and again, how to express your desires, and how to be a happy, fulfilled person on your own, with or without a partner, is really, really critical. And again, I just don't think we get the training. The other thing too is, I think when we're in or going towards a romantic relationship, we follow our heart, but we don't take our brain, our analytical, practical side with them. We don't listen to our gut. I used to think it was wrong to listen to my gut, but if you align it with the heart and the brain, and it's all working together, you're going to make some good, solid decisions. And quite frankly, I think it's important to, you know, we strategize at work, but we really don't strategize our lives. And we never really think about, what would it take for me to be happy? What is the lifestyle I'd like to live? How do I go about doing that? And if I find out what that is, then I can look for a partner with whom I can align. You know, luck, some people get lucky and they get it right the first or the second time, but most of us don't. And luck is not a strategy. And if we looked at our behaviors, our personality types, the lifestyle we want, the kind of values we have that are important to us, that would help us choose the right partner. I think also a lot of times we use the wrong criteria. We use the superficial criteria. Is he or she good looking enough? Do they have a great professional career? Or do they come from the right background? Are they from the right ethnic group? We're looking at the superficial criteria and not looking at the person from the core. Do they have humility? Are they honest? Could they be transparent with me? Could we talk about anything? And I had a conversation with a client the other day. She said, well, I've met a lot of people, but there just isn't any chemistry. And I said, you mean to tell me over a cup of coffee you can tell there's no chemistry? What kind of chemistry are you talking about? And she said, well, you know, the physical chemistry. I said, well, what about intellectual, emotional, spiritual? Did you take the time to look at any of that? Certainly physical attraction is important, but you shouldn't lead with that.
Yeah,
Are we as human beings geared to think that way? I mean, what you say makes perfect sense and in an analytical way. But are we as human beings geared to moving into our relationships with that kind of a thought process? I would say no. I say it's
Because you're a man, that's why.
well. The thing is, you're
And what do you lead with? Tell us. Go ahead. Tell us.
what Pam is talking about is using logic and common sense.
Right.
Am I
Using our mind, our gut.
Okay.
And what do you lead with, sir?
What I'm saying is that in most cases, especially when it comes to the chemistry aspect, it's about emotions. And how many times have I said on this show, in conversations about other topics, that emotions and common sense and logic go together like oil and water. They don't mix. And it's difficult for people to take that step back and become analytical about someone they have interest in. That's not easy. That is not easy to do.
It's true. It's true. But I think if you've been burned a few times, you might step back and be a little patient. I think people can be trained to coordinate their emotions with their practical sense. And also, if you're coming from a good place in your life, if you have a great career, you have a lot of friends, a good family, you love your home, you have a pet, and you just are looking for someone to share that with, you're not going to be so needy, and you may not let your emotions run away with you. I think it requires a little bit of training. Maybe it's a little bit of wisdom coming from my life experience. But I do agree with you, kid. I think we are emotional beings, and we should be that way. But I'm just saying to people, be patient, prepare, and be a little preventive in the way you approach relationships as you're looking for a serious partner. Now, if you're just doing casual dating, that's fun, and that's a whole different ball of wax. But if you're really looking for someone with whom you want to live with or get married to long term, it takes time, and you've got to use that time to vet yourself and vet your partner.
Very true.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. And I like the idea of giving after a relationship loss, because let's face it, in our show is pretty much based on after a relationship type of loss of some sort. You really do have to spend time with yourself to be able to get to know what it is that really makes you tick. And so how can you step forward and really give yourself into another relationship if you don't even know who you are and what makes you happy? Because where you are today is not where you were yesterday. So you can't take so many people have said to me, Pam, they'll say, oh, well, dating has changed so much since the last time I dated. Well, heck yeah. And so have you, And so why do you think you can just step right on into another relationship? Because you don't even know who you are. What is it that you want? And I like the idea that you are a strategist, because that means that you step back and you evaluate and you really consider all of everything that's in front of you. And so I think it's very important when we're looking at having people into our lives, especially being a little bit more seasoned. I think, we don't want to get hurt so much like we were before.
And a lot of what we do, Pam, has focused on baby boomers. So if here we are at this stage of our lives,
booming away,
yeah. And we're out of failed relationships for one reason or another, and so we're like, I only have so many quality years left. I don't want to waste them on another failed relationship. I really want this. I want this to be my last one, and I want it to be the most quality relationship anybody could ever have. I want to go to my grave smiling. Okay?
That's so true. You want it to be not only the last, but lasting. And I think a lot of people don't learn the lessons. I didn't. I had to do a few cycles through the turnstile to get out of it. But when you end a relationship, before you go forward, you do, as Cece said, need to take the time to breathe, relieve the stress, grieve, whatever. But you need to look back before you look forward and say, what did I contribute to this relationship?
I've said that many times.
What did the other person do? when did the red flags wave that maybe we could have prevented this whole situation? What could we have done differently? Because if you keep doing the same thing, if you resolve conflict the same old way you've always done it, if you have these unrealistic expectations of this partner, you'll have it of the next. If you don't take stock of yourself, and I say you have to run the videotape backwards, all the way even back to childhood, as an explanation for how you do things and how you behave. And if you can figure that out, like I'm the helper personality and a lot of good qualities, but the negative qualities are sometimes lack of self-esteem and jealousy and possessiveness. If I take those characteristics into a relationship, right there, I'm going to have a problem.
Oh, no question.
I've had to work on that and resolve that. And now I'm with the peacemaker, the number 9 on the Enneagram personality study. He's a peacemaker. I'm a helper. We get along just fine. We have some harmony.
You're striking a note with a lot of the different things that have gone on in my life as we're talking tonight. I can sit here and say that my marriage, I was crazy about my ex-wife, and I just kept hoping that we could, make things better and make it work, and eventually it didn't. And it's left me with a little bit of a scar, if you will. But I understand, but it was the emotional side of me wanting to keep it going. The realistic, practical, common sense, logical side of me says this is never going to get better. But I kept on the emotions kept me going. I was crazy about her. I just wanted to. I know, kept believing that part of it would make it better. The reality of it is it was never going to get better, and it didn't. And here I am.
Okay, so I think, Pam, my way of thinking is to back that up a little bit and ask yourself, and since we're talking about patterns in our lives, ask yourself, why did you hang in so long? Why are you still going over it even to this day?
The emotions I put into it.
You're going over and over and over it.
The emotions I put into it. I invested everything.
Right.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
But to ask yourself, why did you do that? And the thing is I think, wouldn't you say, Pam, is that if we're going to look back on our lives, we have to be sincere about it, and we have to gut it up and look back, right?
Mm-hmm. There are reasons for every choice we make, whether we stay in a relationship too long. Maybe it's because we're trying to get the children raised. Maybe it's for financial reasons. Maybe it's because we think we can change the other person and make them love us as much as we love them. But at some point, and this is where the head has to come into play, along with the heart and the gut, is, am I doing the right thing for me? Am I putting up a front for friends and family? Am I keeping this together for the wrong reason? I'm not one for a quick exit plan, but I think a lot of this could be prevented early on if we had deep, thoughtful conversations with our partner as we're getting serious. The hypothetical ones like, how would we handle it if my ill mother came to live with us for a while? Or what would you do if I got a job relocation to Dallas? I live in San Francisco. Would you be willing to come with me? And of course, we don't know exactly how things are going to turn out, but you're going to get a feel. If that person says, I'm from California, my family's here, I am never moving away, period, then you know how rigid somebody may be, how open that may be. This takes time, and these conversations don't often happen. I wouldn't expect them to on the very first date. But if you're starting to get serious and this relationship has legs, you need to know this person at a core. How are they going to treat certain situations? Because you will have relationship shift, S-H-I-F-T. I said the right word. It will happen in the middle of everything. You're going to end up with a perfect storm, and you're going to be trying to figure it out. If you can understand who that person is and where they're coming from and where they're willing to compromise early on, that's going to help you
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And just to go even a step further, I think you really have to dig deep within yourself and understand where are your, where is your boundaries? What are you going to do?
What are your priorities?
Right. What is important to you?
Right.
Yeah. And so you get to know that. Also, we're going to have to take a quick break because we got to go into Going Solo with Cece. So we're doing Boy and Girl Things show with Kit Smith, and I'm Cece Shatz. And so we're going to have to take a quick break, Pam, and jump start into the next show. So will you just hang on the phone with us for a moment?
I will hang on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pam.
Cece. This has been really great. I enjoyed it.
Well, you've been brave
I
doing this.
I wish we could see you on camera.
Yes, we'll do this again, and we will see you on camera. So that's absolutely for sure. All right, well, I'm Cece Shatz.
I'm Kit Smith.
And we're going to have to say goodbye for now on the Boy and Girl Thing. But stick around because we are staying right on this show.
Yes, we are. And this, I'm going to stay with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we're going to jump start. We're going to go right into Going Solo with Cece. And
But you won't be going solo with
I
Cece.
won't be. I'm going to be going solo
With Kit.
with Kit. And won't that be fun? I think that'll be fun. Well, you know what? Okay, let's talk about that going solo for a minute. It doesn't mean that you have to be alone forever.
No.
When I first started the whole Going Solo network, a lot of my friends go, oh, I don't want to be alone forever. I don't want you to be alone forever. I don't want to be alone forever. So let's get together and hang. Let's build and feed off of each other. Let's keep the positive vibes going. Let's learn a little bit more about ourselves so that we can get on that higher plateau to bring goodness into our lives.
Wow.
And that's what Going Solo is all about. So jump on the train.
We should make that into a whole line of Valentine's Day cards.
We could. We've got time between now and February.
Yeah.
We'll do that. So then we started this show, Going Solo with Cece, and we talk about everything. We talk about heartbreak. We talk about products and services for singles. We talk about relationship building. We talk about, being with ourselves and being okay with who we are. And most importantly, tonight we have a guest that's going to help us kind of assess a little bit about our patterns in our lives and how we can bring ourselves forward to really create the best relationship, not only with ourselves, but with other people. So I have Kit Smith with me.
And we have Pam Evans with us.
And we do. So let's tell the audience a little bit about Pam so that they know. You want to go ahead and do the introductions? You did it so good on Boy and Girl Thing.
We have a lovely lady with us this evening. Her name is Pam Evans. And she is the author of Ring Exchange, Life Lessons from a Multiple Marrier. Oh, she's singing my song. And which is a tale of Pam's sequential marriage journey and her lessons learned along that road less traveled. In addition to being an author, Pam is a relationship strategist, not just counselor, strategist, whose mission it is to help others avoid the critical mistakes that she made both in her personal life and at times her high-tech career. Pam has appeared on numerous TV and radio programs. You'll find Pam's advice on marriage and relationships in popular publications as well, and on TV shows like this.
Absolutely.
And here we are.
I know, right on Going Solo with Cece. Well, let me tell you one other thing. She is going to join us in some of the other ventures that we are doing, which are going to be launching in June. So I hope that you guys will be excited as we are about that. So I'm thrilled.
I'm going to keep this kind of subdued. But Pam, I may be sending you an email sometime later on this week. There's a theory that I have about human relationships that I've been looking for someone to share it with, and I think you might be the right person for me to do that with. And after that, after that, let's.
Hey, whose show is this, buddy?
Wait a minute. Our show ended, so it's now yours.
Absolutely.
Oh,
so
no.
stop that. But anyhow, we're just having a little bit of fun here, and that's what we try to do on Going Solo. So welcome to the show, Pam.
Thank you for having me on. I wish you could see my face. I've just been.
Yeah, I wish I could see your face too.
Yeah, we do too. And those out there, if you're joining us right now, we are so sorry. We're having technical problems with of course, with the computer. When you do a live show, just things happen, and we could not get her on. I could not get a really decent picture of her up. I tried to do that too. And so what I do have is a little bit of this promo that we had done, so you can see her face a little bit there, so that we can do it. But the whole thing is about the information. And so what we're talking about tonight, we're talking about patterns in our lives that can probably have affected, our relationships. And so how can we jumpstart ourselves to be able to move forward and really attract the right person into our lives? So tell us a little bit about, now I know the first part of the show when we talked on the boy and girl thing, we talk a lot about ourselves and about the patterns that are in our lives, but let's talk a little bit about the relationships that we've had in our lives, even going back to when we were children, because I think sometimes what happens to us when we're kids, when we look at our parents' relationships, and sometimes they're dysfunctional, sometimes they're honeymoon. I mean, I happen to come from, a very good, solid, background with regards to relationships. And I tease my dad all the time saying, well, you're the problem, I'm screwed up because I can't find anyone that's like you guys. I can't find that honeymoon type of relationship.
Mine was just the opposite.
And yours was the opposite. So I really do think our patterns, since we're talking about patterns, they start at a very young age, don't they, Pam?
Oh, they certainly do. And like you, I was raised in a loving family, but I was also raised in the age of obedience. So I had a very autocratic father and who strove for excellence, and all of us did the very best we could to get his love and approval. And my mother passed away when I was 5, so I had some abandonment issues, and my father remarried, and so I had a second mother and a blended family, and it was fine. But I think being raised in the South with very strict parents, I wanted independence and freedom from home. And at the age of 18, in my generation, nice girls didn't live with people, so you ran off and got married and tried to get your education along the way. And luckily, I was able to, get a university degree along the way. But the decisions I made were based on, again, not an excuse, but an explanation about my childhood upbringing and what I experienced there. And so because I was a good girl, very studious, and kept my head down, I didn't learn how to express myself or challenge authority. So when I got into a relationship, I didn't know what equality meant. I didn't know how to express my needs and put my foot down when I needed to. And when I tried to do it, I was very unsuccessful. So that was something I had to learn to do along the way.
I can relate to that. I think a lot of people can, because in that time in our lives, our families did rule very strongly, and so everything was pretty much the way our parents said it is. Now, today's world, it's not like that. I mean, I never, I can't remember spanking, maybe my younger children, because I was young then and didn't really know better. But now, I'm able to actually do differently with my youngest son, and so I can hardly even remember ever smacking him. So you learn, you learn as you go, and you develop your relationship building skills, and so I think that the patterns that we have and that we set forward, moving forward in our lives, are very, very vital to us. So let's talk a little bit about relationship patterns, because I've noticed that my past, and I've been married a couple times, and I've noticed that my past relationship with my first husband, he's very similar to my last husband. I've also noticed that some of the men that I've chosen to date are very similar again. And I don't realize it when I first started dating them, and then I think, oh my gosh, they're just like them. So what is this attraction, with regards to this pattern that I've somehow developed in my life? Is that kind of long-winded?
Well, Yeah, humans are creatures of habit. We do what we know. I did exactly the same thing. I chose domineering men because I was raised by a domineering father and a submissive second mother. So that's all I had been exposed to. So I was the one, making those decisions to choose those types of people. So I do think we have to look at our patterns and, again, what's driving us into a relationship. And I think we have to look at the unrealistic expectations that we put on ourselves sometimes, we put on the other person, thinking that it's always going to be the honeymoon, as Kit had mentioned, and the fantasy island, and it really isn't.
No.
But again, I think personality type and behaviors play a big role in how we do relationships.
Yeah. Do you think we get smarter as we get older?
Well, I did after 5 tries. I stayed away from the altar for 13 years. I wrote a book. I did the self-discovery, the self-examination. Put a lot of thought and effort into it to figure out why a nice girl, whether it's marriages or just relationships, to break the unhealthy patterns and learn the lessons from me. I did it the hard way. So I feel like this is sort of my volunteer social work today to help other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it is true, the patterns that we have in our lives. And sometimes I wonder, when we realize that it's not good for us, why do we stay in it so long? I read an article one time that said that an average relationship breakup, like 5 years before you actually break up, that it's just not going to work out.
It's that emotional investment that we make.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you think it's that, or do you think it's fear?
Well, it's all of that. It's familiarity with your surroundings. I'd rather be with someone than to be alone. It's denial. Things aren't that bad. I mean, he or she blew up at me yesterday.
I can fix this.
Today they're nice to me.
I can fix this. If I just be patient and hang in there, I can fix this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all of the above. You just pick one or several, and you can explain away why we stay in relationships. I did not go to the movies alone until I was 50 years old. I defined myself through a couple situations, except going to work. Somehow I did that by myself. But I didn't know how to be alone. And it's my present husband. We've been married almost 5 years, and we've known each other for, I guess, about 13 now. So I road tested this relationship. He was the one, when we were getting serious, who said, Pam, I love you dearly. I'm not going away, but you have to get a life. And I said, what do you mean by that? He says, all you do is this relationship and work. He says, I'm trying to raise my teenage sons. I don't have 100% of my time to devote to this relationship. Do you have any hobbies or interests that you could get yourself involved with rather than waiting for me all the time? And I said, well, not really. So I got myself a life coach, not an executive coach, but a life coach. And she said, what are you interested in? And I said, well, I used to sing in high school. She said, would you think about doing karaoke? I said, sure. So I got myself a karaoke machine. Before I knew it, I was out in clubs singing karaoke. And my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, was sitting in the audience. I started playing piano again. I started going out with girlfriends more and not canceling those engagements just because my boyfriend, husband now, Christian is his name, was available all of a sudden. I built a lot. I started taking sisters' vacations. I started doing things for me and shopping alone and doing things alone. And today, in a relationship, I'm alone. I'm in a relationship, a satisfying, happy, joyful relationship, but I like my alone time with me. I like being with me. And I know that should something happen, and I hope it never does, I don't expect it will, death do us part, I suppose, that I would be okay. I would be a solid person, and I could find happiness on my own. And that's, going solo is a perfect program, because I tell people, if you go throughout your life without a romantic partner, but you find fulfillment and you're happy, then your life is whole and you are whole. And you have to approach relationships from that point of view. You absolutely do. And I've learned that. I've learned to love myself and learn to be alone.
Well, you know, Pam, wouldn't it be a lot more fun and enjoyable to be with somebody that's okay with themselves? You know, someone that actually likes themselves. I mean, how many times have you been with somebody that's a big grump?
I have that. It's funny that you bring that up. I have that in my own dating profile, that I'm hoping to find someone that is happy from within.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and do you realize how, I'm sure you do, Pam, but do you realize how hard that is to find?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's a needle in the haystack. It really
You gotta be happy from here to start before you can have happiness around you. And most people don't grasp that at all. They think happiness is an external thing. If I just find the right job, the right living situation, the right location, the right this, the right that, I'll be happy. No, happiness comes from here first.
Absolutely.
Utmost and foremost.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a saying, you have to make your own sunshine. And you're so right. I know here in Silicon Valley, it's a very active community. Let's put it that way. Everybody's so
Silicon Valley, so it's not going to be that easy for me to meet you in person, is it?
I'll come to Florida. I have family in Florida. I can come
good.
there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Maybe I'll be live on your show in your living room. How's that?
That would be great. That would be great.
And we could always come to you.
That's true too. That's true too. But my point here is, so many people I know are so busy, so active, they never even have time for themselves, and they don't have time for really deep friendships. And that's not the kind of life that's going to bring you fulfillment. It really isn't. You can push off your problems. You can have superficial happiness, but you really have to question that sometimes. If your life is the external life and you're happy because you're active, then you need to sit back a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because I found, I had a good friend of mine one time, she was doing dancing lessons and she was doing this and doing that. And then she sends me a message. She was in my divorce support group and she looked like she was doing really well. She just was moving forward. I thought she was doing really good. And she sends me a message on Facebook and she says, oh my gosh, I might be busy, but I'm just so lonely. I'm just so... And so she just hadn't gotten comfortable with herself. What she did is she filled all her space being busy doing things with other people and activities and such, but she wasn't ever alone with herself. And I find myself, I like to just be by myself. I like to talk to myself, have that inner voice and think about my dreams and my hopes and my desires, my passions. I think about that. I think about my friends and how much I value them, how important they are to me. It starts making me feel a whole as a person. And so I think we should allow ourselves that space of quietness, stillness within to be able to,
but do you know how long,
be in touch.
Do you know how long it takes for someone to come to that realization?
Well, maybe never if they don't try.
Yeah,
and we're changing their lives today.
Look at
what are you doing?
I don't know. Look at where we are. You and I are now today, and the history that's behind us.
Yes.
You have taken this and you've created a thought process about it. How many people do you think really think like that?
I'm hoping that after the show tonight,
now we can help them develop that. But right now, at the moment, how many people do you think really think that way? I'll venture to say not very many.
What do you think, Pam?
Kit's right, but I think the three of us can help people along with the whole idea. I never realized that watering plants on a Saturday morning in the house is therapeutic, but it is. And when you do have a busy lifestyle, it's wonderful to have just those empty moments where you can dream, you can think, you can solve problems if you want to. Meditate if you do that or not. Talk to yourself. That's a form of meditation for me, talking to myself when I'm driving. not texting, but just talking to myself. So, yeah, I mean, all of those little daily exercises are so healthy for us, and we just don't think to do them.
Well, we start to get comfortable with ourselves when we allow ourselves to do that. Because at first, especially when you're out of a relationship loss, you have all this negative things that are going on in your head, that little voice, you know, it's really, really horrible. Sometimes it can be very horrible to us individually, but slowly as you start to come out of that and you start to really get to know yourself, understand your passions, your joy, get in touch with people. And I think being with, you know, individuals that are uplifting, that can get you through some of the difficulties, like, you know, listening to you and reading your book and start putting, you know, you've got this empty hole in you, just start filling that up with positive stuff and allowing your mind to start doing, as you said, that shift to the positive.
You start to think, well, hey, wait a minute, it's not just me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there are others in this same boat that I am.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to put your website up, Pam, so that everybody can see it. So it's right here. It's going to scroll across so they can get it, www.pam-evans.com. So here it is.
I have a question. I have a question for you. When you begin, how should I? What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. I could get that mind of yours. I've been changing a whole lot of stuff.
when you take on a new client and you're beginning to evaluate what is important for you to do for them to help them forward, how much does self-confidence and ego come into that?
I think, you know, building people's self-confidence is important, and I think when they hear my lessons learned and they see my vulnerability and they see my honesty and transparency, they know I'm a real human being. They know that I'm trying to help, and it seems to work. You know, human relationships are difficult, and I say I don't have any regrets, but I've learned the lessons. I would have behave differently in different situations, but I can't undo my past. I'm a different person today than I was. As Cece said, you know, a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm becoming a better human being. And my goal, too, is to go out of this world, not as a financial or career success, but as a human success,
Right.
And to have evolved as a human being. And the work that I try to do, and most of it is volunteer, I'll take your questions on email or whatever. I'm happy to do that. Is to share my lessons learned so that people will not make the same mistakes, or if they are making those mistakes, that they can stop those destructive, unhealthy patterns.
I'm a believer that a combination of self-confidence and an ego that's in check contributes to that inner happiness that we've talked about earlier. And what I mean by that is I'm someone that, you know, relationships, failed marriages, whatever, I've said before on some of the shows that we've done earlier, I can look in the mirror every night with complete confidence and know that I gave my marriages and whatever relationships I was in my best shot. I don't have to go to sleep at night wondering what I could have done better. I did the best I could do. So if I was one of your patients, let's say, well, we could get right past the building up my self-confidence and ego. We can move right on into the next thing. I'm happy from within. Okay, I'm
good. Yeah.
And I know that I could make someone else's life way better.
But here's the thing, and Eric finally can hear us, so I don't know what the problem was, but he can finally hear us now. Hey, Eric. So the thing is that, okay, wherever we are today, it's not where we were yesterday, okay?
No.
And our lives are changing. And the thing is that we want to have change in our lives, no matter how comfortable we are, because we can't get that comfortable. You know, we need to be able to continue to strive, to learn, to grow. Because if we start saying, I got it all, you know, then you become dormant and you don't.
Stagnant.
Yeah, and you just, nothing happens for you. You're not moving forward. We want to continuously move forward. So having someone like Pam Evans in your life, you know, a relationship strategist. Oh, and I hope my phone is not dying.
Hard to say.
Yeah, someone. No, I think my phone is starting to die. But
My new best
relationship strategist, having someone like you, Pam, in their lives will certainly jumpstart them, be able to help them move forward and create a pattern of change and you know, going in a good direction. So tell us again how we can get your book, and my phone's about to die, so I don't want to lose you for forever here. So tell us how we can contact you and how we can get your services.
You can contact me through the website. If you sign up for my newsletter, it's free. It comes out about once a month. I'll send you a free box of relationship cards. I'll just need your mailing address. I'm happy to do that. You can get my book on and the cards on Amazon on my website. But you can find me at the website. You can also email me at Pamela_Evans_US, like United States, at yahoo.com. I'm happy to answer any relationship questions you might have.
That's terrific. And then also we do have a special elite page for Pam. And so you can just go on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network on the radio station page and just click elite guest. Her name is right there. It brings up, it's got all of her information. You can buy the book directly right from there if you want. I would suggest that you do that. If you want to change your life, you got to do something about it. You got to make it happen. And it's not going to happen all by itself. It's not going to just, you know, drop from the sky and change is going to happen for you. You have to be the one to say, you know what, I want more in my life, and so I'm going to just
be the one that initiates.
Absolutely. You want to just open up your heart, open up your soul, and be able to move forward in that. I want to thank you, Pam, for being on the show and being a real trooper with this, and we will have you back on so that we can talk about another subject and see you in person.
I hope so. She's my new.
Thank you.
Pam is my new best friend.
Yeah.
Your relationship friend, and I apologize. It was my computer, not yours. So
Well,
I apologize.
you just never know. But you know what? Things happen for a reason, and I'm just blessed that we had you on the show here tonight. Again, her website is scrolling across, so please jot it down. And if you don't have it, then just go right on our website, and it's right there for you. And again, we are going to be kicking off something brand new here in June.
Very soon.
I'm hoping June. Crossing my fingers, and Pam is going to join us in that venture, and so I'm very, very excited about that. And I want to thank you so much for being with us on that. All right, well, this is Cece with Boy and Girl. I'm not with Boy and Girl Thing. I'm with Going Solo with Cece, but
you're not going solo.
I know, but I have the host here of Boy and Girl Thing with me tonight on the show, and it's just such a joy to have all of you with us. So I want to thank you, Kit, for sticking with me.
Thank you for having me,
Oh, you're quite welcome. So thank you. I appreciate you. All right, guys, we're going to go for now. We'll see you next week, same time, same place, right here on Going Solo with Cece. Bye.
Have a good night.
Good night.